Hi and welcome to our latest episode of Carpool Readeoke. We're so lucky today to have award-winning speaker, inspirational leader, thoroughly nice bloke, and somebody so passionate about education. It's unbelievable. It's Richard Gerver.
This is unbelievable. This is great. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting to be here, and to be able to share my passion, not just for education, but for books and reading too. What a lot of people might not know is I started out obviously as a primary school teacher, as an English specialist, and then went on to become a literacy advisor for a while. So it is my absolute passion. So to be able to share it one more time is brilliant. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for having me.
Oh, that's amazing. No, thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure. So look, shall I tell you about what I've brought with me to read?
Oh, that'd be amazing. Thank you.
So I've gone old school. Okay, I've brought a book because my kids are grown up themselves now, and frankly the idea of letting me read to them now would be horrific. My daughter's 23, my son's 19, so I haven't read. I'm just waiting for grandchildren. I haven't read to them for a very long time, but I'm going to share a book that I had read to me as a child, that I read to my children as a child, and partly explains our family fixation with Disney. It's a book by A.A.Milne that everyone will know and love, and it's The Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And I thought I'd read a little bit of that, because one of the things that I've always loved about this book, but I think more now than ever before, is that it's a book about friendship. It's a book about a diverse set of characters who come together and have adventures and share love and joy and moments of deep philosophy, actually. But at the same time, it's a story of a little boy with an extraordinary imagination who goes outside and shows all the characteristics we dream of for our kids: curiosity, creativity, problem solving, collaboration, all of those things. And so I'd love to share a bit of that with you all.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm just going to read a little bit of chapter 2 of Winnie the Pooh, and it's called In Which Pooh Goes Visiting and Gets Into a Tight Space. Now, this is something I can relate to because I'm carrying a few pounds too many currently. So even now I read this and think this is the best way to get me into healthy eating. Okay, so Edward Bear, known to his friends as Winnie the Pooh, or Pooh for short, was walking through the forest one day, humming proudly to himself. He had made up a little hum that very morning, as he was doing his stoutness exercises in front of the glass. Tra-la-la-la-la, as he stretched up high, as high as he could go, and then tra-la-la-la-la, oh, help, la, as he tried to reach his toes. After breakfast, he had said it over and over to himself until he'd learnt it off by heart. And now he was humming it right through, properly, and it went like this. Tra-la-la-la-la, tra-la-la-la-la, rum-tum-tiddle-um-tum, tiddle-diddle, tiddle-iddle, 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 rum-tum-tum, tiddle-um. Well, he was humming this hum to himself and walking gaily along, wondering what everybody else was doing and what it felt like being somebody else, when suddenly he came to a sandy bank, and in the bank was a large hole. "Bah!" said Pooh. Rum-tiddle-um-tum. "If I know anything about anything, that hole means rabbit," he said. "And rabbit means company," he said, "and company means food, and listening to me humming, and such like, rum-tum-tum-tiddle-um." So he bent down. He put his head into the hole and called out, "Is anybody at home?" There was a sudden scuffling noise from inside the hole, and then silence. "What I said was, is anybody at home?" called out Pooh very loudly. "No," said a voice, and then added, "You needn't shout so loud. I heard you quite well the first time." "Bother," said Pooh. "Isn't there anybody here at all?" "Nobody." Winnie the Pooh took his head out of the hole and thought for a little. He thought to himself, there must be somebody there, because somebody must have said nobody. He put his head back into the hole and said, "Hello, Rabbit. Isn't that you? No, said Rabbit in a different sort of voice this time. But isn't that Rabbit's voice? I don't think so, said Rabbit. It isn't meant to be. Oh, said Pooh. He took his head out of the hole and had another think. And then he put it back and said, Well, could you kindly tell me where Rabbit is? He's gone to see his friend Pooh Bear, who is a great friend of his. But that's me, said Bear, very surprised. What sort of me? Pooh Bear! Are you sure? Said Rabbit, still more surprised. Quite sure, quite sure, said Pooh. Oh, well then, come in. So Pooh pushed and pushed and pushed his way through the hole, and at last he got in. You were quite right, said Rabbit, looking at him all over. It is you. So glad to see you. Anyway, the chapter goes on. They share some of Pooh's favourite food, which I wonder how many of the people watching will remember. Oh. And Pooh gets himself stuck in a bit of a predicament, and Christopher Robin has to come and save the day. But it's a brilliant book, a fantastic chapter, and filled with so much you can talk about with kids. So I hope that was okay.
That was amazing, thank you. And I know lots of people will be reading on now from that.
Fantastic. I hope they do.
Thank you so much, Richard, for coming in today. Thank you so much. And thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Carpool Readeoke.
Take care.
Bye.